Hello and welcome to the CSO Impact podcast with a special edition. Today we are talking about our recent publication, the Leadership for Sustainable Futures book that we published together with the Moorman publishers in Hamburg just in May of this year. And some of you have read it already. We have discussed the role of the CSOs with many authors who are also CSOs on our podcast. And, you know, we invited them to be co-authors in this compendium, in this yearbook. And we think it's a very compelling read. We have gotten very great feedback. And we thought we make a special edition this time. And what was the thought? So besides sustainability, climate change, biodiversity, nature challenges, we know there's another, let's say, revolution coming and progressing at exponential speeds. I'm talking about AI, obviously, and the artificial intelligence, the search for artificial general intelligence, all of the, passions, all of the monies, investments, and resources going into this area is not only a strain also for potential energy sources as well as the climate, emissions proposed and produced by AI machines, these huge data centers. We know that AI could also be a useful tool. Now, we ask ourselves with some of the, social media things out there, why don't we create a special edition? And we ask Google Notebook LM, which is a tool that you can use to upload data and knowledge, basically, and it comes out with a podcast edition about the content you upload. So we took the experiment, uploaded the content of this book, of the authors, to this tool, and we want to share today this episode where we have two podcasters talking to each other about the content of this book and some of the authors. There's some restrictions, as we know, so they didn't take, let's say, 2 minutes for each of the authors, but they picked a couple of the highlights. We found that the content discussed in a way which is maybe, I would say, maybe a very American way of life, and how you pronounce things, how you talk on stage, talk on online in the radio show, is maybe at sometimes getting a little bit, let's say, monotonous. But they try to make it pretty upbeat. So we want to share this experience with you because we felt this is a sign of our time. So we are inundated with new tools every day. There's new upgrades in the big models, but there's smaller speedboats of technology. So we just want to put it out there. Again, some of the context they discussed is interesting. Most of it is accurate. And in a kind of philosophical sense, they're doing their let's say, upbeat version of a podcast. And we just wanted to invite your commentary, see how this works. And, who knows, maybe we do a similar one a year from now and see what the next models can do, because this exponential growth is just fantastic. So without further ado, welcome to this special edition of the CSO Impact podcast, featuring authors of the Leadership for Sustainable Futures book that we published with Moorman. And maybe towards the end of the year, there's always time to have a little bit of a, special idea. And why don't you share a little bit of the comments again and to feedback with us. Can't wait to get your feedback. And now we're rolling the red carpet. Enjoy this special edition of the CSO Impact podcast.
Welcome to our deep dive into the world of Chief Sustainability Officers.
CSOs.
Yeah, CSOs.
Oh, yeah.
We've got a stack of excerpts here from the CSO yearbook with essays from some of Europe's leading sustainability execs.
It's really a fascinating look at how the role itself signals a pretty big shift for business.
Yeah.
Companies are moving beyond talking about sustainability to actually baking it into how they operate and succeed.
Yeah, that's a theme I'm seeing everywhere in these essays.
Yeah.
The yearbook really underscores that CSOs aren't just figureheads anymore.
No.
They're not tucked away in a corner office, you know?
Right. They're at the executive table,
Exactly.
influencing decisions across the board.
Yeah, and their responsibilities are much broader than they used to be, too.
Oh, absolutely.
It's not just about reducing carbon emissions anymore.
No.
Today's CSOs are tackling things like social equity and ethical supply chains, you know, making their companies resilient in the face of global challenges.
That's a huge job.
Yeah, it is.
And the demand for these skills is exploding.
The European Commission actually estimates that over 49,000 companies are going to need to comply with tougher sustainability reporting rules by 2025.
Wow.
That's a talent scramble waiting to happen.
It is. And even finding the right people is just the first hurdle.
Right.
The yearbook highlights a real talent shortage in this field.
I can see why.
Think about it. You need someone with this blend of scientific knowledge and business savvy and the ability to kind of like get everyone on board from employees to investors.
Yeah.
It's a tall order.
It is. And then on top of that, the world of sustainability is constantly changing.
Oh, yeah.
It's like
ways evolve.
new regulations pop up, technologies evolve, and what was best practice last year might be totally outdated today.
Absolutely.
Talk about a steep learning curve.
That's where the continuous learning and adaptation become absolutely crucial.
Yeah, you can't just rely on what you already know. You
Yes.
got to be constantly updating your skills and knowledge.
For sure.
Okay, but how do they actually do it? Luckily, the yearbook gives us a glimpse into how some real-life CSOs are tackling these issues.
Let's start with Katharina Belfrage-Salstrand.
Okay.
She's the sustainability lead at Handelsbanken.
Uh-huh.
And she's a big proponent of what she calls digging where you stand.
Okay, what does that mean?
It means you start with your core business
Okay.
and you find ways to make it more sustainable.
So for a bank like Handelsbanken,
Right.
that means focusing on things like green mortgages,
Yeah.
making their real estate holdings more energy efficient.
Exactly.
Makes sense.
It's much more pragmatic and actionable than trying to boil the ocean.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You leverage what you're already good at.
Now, another CSO that I found really interesting was Petra Wicklant from Merck.
Okay.
She makes this brilliant comparison between embedding sustainability and the evolution of quality assurance. Think about it back in the day, quality control was an afterthought.
Yeah.
Now it's absolutely essential to any successful business.
Wickland believes that sustainability is on that same trajectory, becoming the new standard of excellence.
And Merck is putting their money where their mouth is.
Oh, yeah?
They've tied sustainability targets to employee bonuses,
That's right.
even long-term financial incentives.
It's a powerful way to align individual behavior with the company's goals.
So everyone wins when sustainability is woven into the fabric of how they do business.
Absolutely.
Now, speaking of winning, Dr. Nicola Kim, the CSO at Heidelberg Materials,
Yes,
she's someone who really walked the walk.
she did.
She left a cushy job at a multinational company to build a sustainability program from scratch at a smaller firm.
That is a bold move.
It is.
It speaks volumes about her commitment to making a real tangible impact.
And she really emphasizes the power of storytelling.
She does.
And I think that's so important because sustainability can be such a dense topic.
Yeah, it can be.
And being able to translate these complex ideas into engaging narratives, that's a superpower for any CSO.
It is, her point is that whether you're talking to employees or investors or the public, the message needs to be clear, compelling,
Yeah.
and tailored to that specific audience.
Make it relatable.
Yeah, make sustainability relatable and inspiring.
And that brings us to Richard Haldeman from Clariant,
Yes.
another CSO with a really powerful story. His passion for sustainability stems from witnessing the impacts of climate change firsthand.
Wow.
Imagine growing up in the Swiss Alps and seeing those iconic glaciers shrinking right in front of you.
It's a stark reminder that these aren't just abstract problems.
No.
They have real-world consequences.
They do, and he doesn't just see sustainability as a cost either.
Yeah.
He believes that combining it with innovation can actually create new value for businesses.
Absolutely. And he put this belief into action.
Oh, really?
He led an innovation training program at Clariant.
Okay.
It helped employees connect their work to real-world sustainability challenges.
Interesting.
The program was a huge success, too.
That's great.
It led to increased engagement and some really creative solutions.
It's proof that sustainability doesn't have to be a burden.
No.
It can be a catalyst for growth.
And a source of inspiration for employees.
Absolutely. Now, we've talked about individual initiatives, but what about creating a company culture where everyone feels empowered to contribute to sustainability?
Right. That's where Line Hestvik from Alliance comes in.
Okay.
Her vision is to see every employee at Alliance actively engaged in sustainability,
Okay.
not just treating it as something that the, sustainability department handles.
So it's about embedding it in the DNA of the company.
Exactly.
But how do you actually do that?
Well, Hestvik believes that the key is providing employees with the right education tools and, most importantly, inspiration.
When people can see the impact of their actions and feel like they're part of something bigger, that's when the magic happens.
Yeah, for sure.
Now let's shift gears for a minute.
Okay.
Let's talk about how all of this connects to marketing. You might be thinking, wait, sustainability and marketing, what's the link?
Right.
But the yearbook has a fascinating perspective from Pascal Raderer.
Oh.
He's with Mutual Value Labs.
Uh-huh.
And he argues that we need to rethink the traditional 4 Ps of marketing,
Oh, wow.
product, price, place, and promotion
Yeah.
through a purpose lens.
Interesting.
So it's not just about selling products anymore.
No.
It's about aligning your marketing efforts with a bigger purpose.
Right. Something that benefits society as a whole.
Exactly. Let's break down what that means for each of the Ps, starting with product.
Okay.
Rader encourages us to think about the societal need we're addressing
Mm-hmm.
rather than getting stuck in traditional product categories.
I see.
So it's about looking beyond the product itself,
Yeah.
considering its role in solving a real-world problem.
Makes sense.
And for place, the focus shifts from points of sale
Okay.
to platforms for value creation.
I like that.
So any interaction a company has, whether it's online or in person, it can be a marketing opportunity if it's aligned with their purpose.
So it's a much more holistic view of marketing.
It is going beyond transactions and advertising.
And then there's promotion.
Okay.
Reader argues that we should be promoting the brand's purpose, not just the product itself.
I mean, consumers are savvier than ever these days,
They are.
and they want to support brands that stand for something
Exactly. They want authenticity.
and transparency.
Yeah, showing that you're walking the walk, not just talking the talk.
Okay, what about price? How did that fit into this purpose-driven model?
Well, Reader challenges traditional pricing models.
Okay.
He urges us to consider the indirect value that's created
Okay.
and shared within the ecosystem.
So instead of just focusing on the immediate transaction, you're
Yeah.
looking at the long-term value that's generated for all stakeholders.
He calls this customer lifetime ecosystem value, or CLEV.
CLEV. Okay, I like that.
It's about recognizing that price is more than just a number. It reflects the value that's being exchanged and the impact that it has on the world.
That's a good point.
And to fully embrace this purpose-driven approach, Reiterer introduces 2 new Ps,
Oh, really?
people and planet.
Okay.
These are the human and environmental dimensions that are often overlooked in traditional marketing.
This is where things get really interesting.
They do.
So let's start with people. What does that entail?
It's about recognizing the link between employee satisfaction performance and the company's purpose.
Okay.
Deutsche Telekom is a great example.
Okay.
They've achieved significant business success by focusing on a shared purpose that resonates with their employees.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense when employees feel like their work has meaning and contributes to something bigger than themselves. They're
Yeah.
more engaged and productive.
But there's also this right to play aspect when it comes to people.
What do you mean?
Companies need to meet basic requirements for employee treatment and ethical supply chains.
So it's not just about doing good.
It's about avoiding doing harm.
It's maintaining legitimacy in the market.
There's a baseline ethical standard that companies need to meet before they can even think about going above and beyond.
Yeah, and what about the planet dimension?
Right. What about that?
Well, similar to people, there's a right to play aspect here as well.
Okay.
Companies need to comply with environmental regulations, meet basic sustainability standards.
But then there's that opportunity to go further,
Right.
demonstrate real leadership in environmental stewardship.
The yearbook highlights Lipton Tea as a great example.
Oh, yeah.
They made this bold move towards sourcing their tea sustainably
Okay.
while keeping their prices competitive.
Wow.
It not only benefited the environment, but it set a new standard for the entire industry.
That's the power of taking a stand.
It is.
It can create a ripple effect,
Right.
pushes the entire market towards greater sustainability.
And they proved that doing good for the planet doesn't have to come at the expense of profitability.
Now, we've talked about marketing, but CSOs also need to drive change at a strategic level. Absolutely.
The yearbook talks about the power of stakeholder boards in this regard.
Yeah. Michael Winter, an expert in future-oriented consulting, believes that stakeholder boards are essential partners for CSOs.
It's about moving beyond just a narrow focus on shareholder value.
Right.
And recognizing the importance of creating value for all stakeholders.
All stakeholders, employees, customers, communities, the planet.
These boards bring a diversity of perspectives to the table,
They do.
helping companies understand the broader impact of their decisions.
And identify potential risks and opportunities.
So it's a much more holistic approach to decision making,
It is.
and it can help build trust and resilience in the long run.
It can.
It's like having a team of advisors with this huge range of expertise and perspectives.
Right.
You're much less likely to miss something important.
Now, we've talked a lot about the qualitative side of sustainability leadership,
Okay.
but what about the data?
Good point.
The yearbook has some interesting insights from Livio Scalvini
Ah.
and the Leonardo Center at Imperial College Business School.
Okay.
They're doing some cutting-edge work
Yeah.
using data to track and understand the impact of sustainability initiatives.
That's fascinating.
They point out a challenge that a lot of CSOs face:
What's that?
a lack of standardized global reporting
Right.
across all 17 Sustainable Development Goals.
It makes it hard to measure progress
It's
and compare results across companies and industries.
Exactly, and that's where their work comes in.
Okay.
They've created something called the Golden Data Set,
Okay.
which uses machine learning to extract sustainability data from corporate reports.
Wow.
This allows them to track progress on the SDGs in a more comprehensive and consistent way.
So it's like they're creating a common language for sustainability data,
Exactly.
which is essential if we want to collaborate effectively and drive real progress.
They've also developed a framework called the Business Impact Maturity Framework, or BMF. Yeah, think of it as a roadmap for companies to advance their sustainability efforts.
So it's not just about collecting data.
No.
It's about using that data to inform strategy and drive meaningful action.
Exactly. And one of their most compelling findings is that investment portfolios that prioritize companies with a strong focus on sustainability actually outperform those focused solely on advocacy.
So it's proof that sustainability isn't just good for the world.
Right.
It's good for business.
It is a win-win.
That's a powerful message for investors who are looking to align their portfolios with their values.
It is.
Now, we've covered a lot of ground so far.
We have.
We've seen how CSOs are navigating complex challenges,
Mm-hmm.
leading with purpose, driving innovation.
Yeah.
But one big question remains, how do we deal with all this uncertainty and rapid change that seems to define the world today?
That's the million-dollar question.
It is. The yearbook has a really interesting perspective from Dr. Chris Lubkimin,
Okay.
an applied futurist who spent his career thinking about the big picture. He acknowledges that the world is changing faster than ever. It can feel overwhelming. But he starts by reminding us that humans are incredibly resilient.
We are.
We've faced down some pretty daunting challenges throughout history.
Yeah.
We've always found a way to adapt and overcome.
Right.
And he also sees a lot of hope in younger generations.
Yeah.
Who are demanding change, pushing for a more sustainable future.
He believes that science-based, radically pragmatic imagination is crucial for navigating these turbulent times.
It's a great phrase.
It suggests that we need to combine creativity with a clear-eyed understanding of the challenges we face.
We need to be both dreamers and doers.
Absolutely. And he brings up the power of storytelling again.
He does.
Emphasizing its ability to inspire and motivate people to act.
Right.
It goes back to that idea that we need to connect with people on an emotional level, help them see a path forward.
Absolutely.
Stories can be incredibly powerful tools for driving change.
They can.
And finally, the yearbook shares some insights from Mark Buckley, a regenerative futurist, who challenges us to go beyond the traditional 3 pillars of sustainability: social, economic, and environmental.
Interesting.
He proposes 3 principles of sustainability that dig a little deeper.
Okay. I'm intrigued.
He calls them economics, innovations, and futures.
Wow. Okay. Let's unpack those.
Okay.
What does he mean by economics?
He argues that we need to transition from traditional economic models to what he calls ecological and regenerative economics.
So it's about moving away from a purely extractive mindset that focuses on endless growth.
It's not just about making money.
No.
It's about creating a system that supports both people and the planet for the long term.
Exactly. And for innovations, Buckley emphasizes the need for sustainable impact innovations.
These are innovations that are driven by a clear purpose and utilize general purpose technologies.
Things like AI and renewable energy.
To create positive change.
Right.
It's about harnessing the power of technology to solve some of the world's most pressing problems.
Time for futures?
That sounds pretty existential.
It is. He encourages us to envision a world that works for everyone,
Okay.
using regenerative futures frameworks and tools to create a roadmap for a thriving and equitable future.
And he poses this provocative question: what does a world that works for everyone look like?
Wow.
It's a question we should all be asking ourselves.
They should.
It forces us to think about our values, our aspirations, the kind of world we want to leave for future generations.
It's a challenge to move beyond simply mitigating harm.
Yeah.
To actually start imagining a world that's truly regenerative.
And beneficial for all.
Exactly.
It's inspiring to hear about all these CSOs. They're tackling these complex issues, driving innovation, creating positive change. But it also makes me wonder, how can we distill all these insights into something actionable?
Right.
What are the key takeaways that we can apply to our own work and lives?
That's a great question, and it's something that we'll explore in much more detail in the next part of our deep dive.
Stay tuned. Okay, so we've heard from some incredible CSOs across Europe.
They really are.
So passionate,
Yeah.
driven, and they're finding these creative ways to make sustainability part of the core of their businesses.
It's really inspiring.
It is. And what struck me was how many of them talked about storytelling as a key skill.
Yeah, it came up a lot.
It's not enough to have the data and the plans. You have to bring people along on the journey.
Absolutely.
And they're not telling just any old stories either. There's a real focus on connecting sustainability to what these companies do best.
It's about making it relevant to everyone.
Yeah.
Not just the eco-warriors.
Like, think about Richard Haldeman from Clarion.
Yeah.
He tied sustainability directly to profitability, showed how it can drive innovation and create value.
Exactly. It's about shifting that mindset.
Yeah.
From sustainability as a cost to sustainability as an opportunity.
And then you have Petra Wicklund at Merck using that analogy of quality assurance.
Right. Becoming the new standard.
Sustainability is on that same path.
It is.
It's no longer optional if you want to be a leader.
And then Dr. Kim at Heidelberg Materials really gets the importance of tailoring the message to different audiences.
Right.
It's not a one-size-fits-all.
So, a sustainability report for investors might look very different from a campaign to get employees excited about a new recycling program.
Exactly. It's all about knowing your audience.
And then there's Lion Hesvik at Alliance.
Oh, yeah.
Her story about empowering every single employee to contribute to sustainability.
Powerful stuff.
It's powerful, and it shows how it can become part of the company culture.
It's not just a separate initiative.
Right. But let's be real.
Yeah.
It's not all sunshine and roses.
It's not.
The yearbook doesn't shy away from the challenges these CSOs face either.
There are plenty of them.
Oh, yeah, like navigating complexity.
Oh, yeah.
Balancing stakeholder demands, finding resources, implementing initiatives.
Keeping up with all the regulations.
It's a lot.
It is a lot to juggle.
And then there's that talent shortage we talked about.
Oh, yeah.
Companies want sustainability expertise, but there just aren't enough experienced people.
That's why investing in education and training is so important.
Yeah, we need to equip that next generation of leaders.
Absolutely. Give them the skills and the knowledge they need.
And it's not just about technical expertise either.
No.
They need to be strategic thinkers, master communicators, collaborators, people who can bring everyone together.
It's a demanding role.
It is.
The yearbook makes it clear that it's also incredibly rewarding.
Yeah.
These CSOs are making a real difference.
They are, and it's inspiring to see how they're drawing on personal experiences to fuel their work.
Yeah, like Richard Haldeman.
Yeah.
Whose passion was sparked by seeing climate change firsthand in the Swiss Alps.
Or Rainer Karcher at Alliance Technology.
Right.
He led this effort to increase biodiversity on their campus.
Starting with something as simple as letting the meadows grow wild.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's a good reminder that sustainability isn't just some abstract concept.
It's not.
It's about the places we love.
Yeah.
The future we want to create.
It's about taking action.
It is, no matter how small.
Speaking of action,
Yeah.
the yearbook has some fascinating insights on how data is being used to drive sustainability strategies.
You're talking about Livio Stalvini and the Leonardo Center, right?
I am their work on measuring the impact of these sustainability initiatives is really groundbreaking.
They've really tackled that problem of inconsistent reporting across all the sustainable development goals.
Yeah.
Their golden data set
Yeah.
uses machine learning to pull all this data from corporate reports.
It's pretty amazing.
It is, and it lets them track progress in a much more standardized way.
Exactly.
It's like they created a universal translator for sustainability data.
It is.
And that's so crucial for companies that want to benchmark their performance.
Yeah. See how they stack up against others.
Right. And then there's their business impact maturity framework.
The BPM.
The BMF, it's like a diagnostic tool to
Yeah.
assess their sustainability efforts.
You can see where you are on the journey.
Right.
Identify areas for improvement.
It's like a GPS for sustainability,
I like that.
guiding companies towards a more mature and integrated approach.
And their research shows
Yeah.
that companies further along in their sustainability journeys actually perform better financially.
It's a win-win.
It is good for the planet and good for the bottom line.
Okay, so we've talked about data, but what about the human element?
Right.
How can CSOs get everyone on board with their sustainability vision?
Well, the yearbook really emphasizes the importance of stakeholder engagement.
Yeah.
Michael Winter,
Uh-huh.
that leader in future-oriented consulting,
Yeah.
he makes a strong case for stakeholder boards.
It's about moving beyond that narrow focus on shareholder value
You guys said.
and recognizing the importance of creating value for all stakeholders.
Employees, customers, communities, the planet.
Right. And these boards, they bring such a diversity of perspectives.
They do.
It helps companies understand the broader impact of their decisions.
And identify those potential risks and opportunities.
It's a much more holistic approach to decision making,
It is.
and it can build trust,
Yeah.
resilience for the long run.
And the yearbook also highlights the vital role that CSOs play as leaders.
Yeah, they're not just implementing programs.
You know,
They're shaping the future of their organizations.
inspiring others to take action.
They're challenging the status quo,
Pushing boundaries.
showing that sustainability can be a driving force
Innovation.
for innovation and for positive change.
And one of the most powerful messages I took away
Yeah.
was the importance of that science-based, radically pragmatic imagination.
That's such a good phrase.
It is.
You know, it's about balancing that big picture thinking with a grounded understanding of the challenges we face.
We need to be both dreamers and doers.
We do. And, you know, remember Helly Bank Jorgensen?
The CEO of Competent Boards.
Yeah, what she said about the importance of continuous learning in this space. The landscape's always changing.
Always.
We need to be lifelong learners,
Yeah.
seeking out new knowledge, new perspectives.
And that's something we can all do,
we can.
regardless of our role or industry.
It's true. Staying curious, asking questions, being open to new ideas.
That's how we keep moving forward in this rapidly evolving world.
Now, before we wrap up
Yeah.
our deep dive, I want to leave you with a few more key takeaways
Oh, great.
from the yearbook.
Okay, I'm ready.
One thing that really stood out to me was the emphasis on that personal connection to sustainability.
Yeah, it's not just about rules and targets.
It's about finding what matters to you
Right.
and using that passion to fuel your actions.
Whether it's protecting a place you love or, ensuring a better future for your kids.
Or just making your own little corner of the world a bit greener.
Yeah, those personal connections can be so motivating.
Another key takeaway is collaboration.
Absolutely.
None of these CSOs are working in isolation.
They're partnering with NGOs, other companies, even competitors.
It's a recognition that we're all in this together.
We are.
And these challenges we face, they're too big for any one organization to handle alone.
We need all hands on deck.
And the final takeaway from the yearbook is that sustainability isn't just about doing the right thing.
Right.
It's about doing the smart thing.
It makes good business sense.
It does. It's about building resilience, attracting talent, enhancing your brand reputation.
Creating long-term value.
It's a win-win-win.
It is.
So as we move into the final part of our deep dive,
Right.
I want to challenge you to think about what all of this means to you personally.
What resonates with you?
Yeah. What sparks your passion? Like, I think for a lot of people, it can feel daunting, right? Like, how do you even begin to tackle these huge global challenges?
But every journey starts with a single step, right?
Yeah, it does.
And the yearbook has so many examples of those first steps.
Like what?
Well, remember Katharina Belfrage Solstrand?
Uh-huh. Digging where you stand.
Exactly. You don't need some grand master plan to make a difference.
You start with what's right in front of you.
Right. So if you work for a clothing company, maybe you start by looking at how sustainable your fabrics are or your supply chain.
If you're a teacher, maybe you find ways to bring sustainability into your lesson plans.
The point is, we all have a sphere of influence,
Yeah,
no matter how big or small.
right.
And within that sphere, we have the power to make choices that align with our values.
And the yearbook also reminds us that this isn't just about individual action.
No, it's about systemic change.
That's where collaboration comes in.
Right. We need businesses, governments, nonprofits, individuals all working together.
To create a more sustainable future.
And the CSOs in this yearbook, they're leading the charge.
They are.
They're building these partnerships, sharing knowledge, advocating for change.
You know, one thing that really struck me about these CSOs is their optimism.
Yeah, they haven't given up hope.
I mean, they're not naive to the challenges,
No.
but they're not overwhelmed by them either.
It's that science-based, radically pragmatic imagination that Dr. Lipkeman was talking about.
They're not just dreamers.
No, they're doers.
They're taking action.
They're using their knowledge and their skills and their networks to make those dreams a reality.
And they're showing that sustainability isn't just the right thing to do.
It's the smart thing to do,
It's about creating businesses that are resilient, innovative.
aligned with the values of their customers and their employees.
It's about moving beyond that old model of profit at any cost.
Yeah, embracing a new model of success.
One that takes care of people and the planet.
Exactly. So as we wrap up our deep dive into the world of chief sustainability officers,
I want to leave you with a challenge.
well,
Think about everything you've learned from these incredible people.
what resonated with you the most?
What are you most passionate about?
Ask yourself, what's your unique contribution to creating a sustainable future?
What action will you take?
What's your story?
Remember, the journey toward a sustainable future is a collective one.
And every step, no matter how small, takes us closer to the world we want to live in.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive